Hello, everybody, and welcome to Friday Apocryphal Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything Friday Apocryphal and podcast. And boy, do we have a show for you today. Today, we are covering Tobit chapters 9 through 11.
Absolutely nothing to do with New York.
No, not even a little bit. And you know, the last time this happened, where we were covering chapters 9 through 11, that video got traction because people kept searching 9/11.
I bet it's because the truthers are all fundamentalists.
Well, I don't know.
Well, they know the fundamental truth.
Either way,
They know the gospel truth.
if you're here for that, this has nothing to do with New York. So.
Absolutely nothing whatsoever. You're not going to be entertained by, well, you might be.
You might be entertained.
Yeah. Are you not entertained?
You should be entertained.
You should be.
Yeah, because today we're covering Tobit.
Yeah, we're covering chapters 9 through 11. So anything, as last time, you finished here, right?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So it like starts in the middle of a paragraph in this translation.
Yeah.
So,
Just sectioned off differently.
So anything you want to say about this bit that we're about to read before we get into it?
You know, honestly, I guess I will read this one section here. We should introduce the translations we have and the commentaries we have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have the Anchor Bible, new translation with introduction and commentary by Carrie A. Moore.
I have Volume 6 from the New Interpreter's Bible Commentary series. And this section on Tobit is, I think, written by... It's somewhere in here. I know that I'm very close. I'm in the introductory section. You do have the internet. That is true. Irene Noel.
Well, thank you, Irene.
And I have no idea what OSB stands for. No idea. All right. Either way, let's
Orbital space bombardment.
Wow, I wish. That would be pretty cool, actually.
On some barbiturates.
Wow. And aside from this, we also have Erdman's commentary on the Bible. This big, beautiful book right here.
Yes, we do have that, and that is by this isn't.
Well, the section, yeah.
Diamond. This is by Lester L. Grabby.
Grabby.
You know, and Diamond, that guy was savage.
He is pretty raw.
Yeah.
That guy is savage.
Yeah.
So this section we're about to read, apparently in the Mantua edition, 1563, of Midrash Tanuma, there is an edition reminiscent of the Tale of Tobit, which they talk about. They quote the entire thing.
Wow.
In here. But it says that one not be a midrashic scholar to see that a case for this story being related in some way to the Tobit tale can be argued either way. It's worth noting, however, that elsewhere in his midrash, Moses HaDarshan did use apocryphal and pseudo-epigraphal books, including Jubilees and Enoch.
Oh, okay. So a midrash guy basically retells the book.
Yes.
Okay.
So anything else you want to cover before we hop into it?
So this is going. They're finally going to get the money, right?
Which we've been trying to get this entire time.
Yeah. They're really having.
It's like the main quest.
Yeah.
And we know they're going to succeed. They literally say they must succeed at the beginning.
Well, I sure hope they succeed.
They sure are dragging that out and having a lot of side quests.
This is the hero's journey right here. And speaking of hero's journey, the original purpose of the journey, at least in the minds of Tobit and Tobiah, was to recover the money Tobit had deposited with Gabael. Now, Tobiah is prevented from accomplishing that goal by his marriage, which, in fact, was God's purpose for the journey. So Tobiah sends his faithful guide to recover the money and to bring Gabael to the wedding. So we're going to make it all better.
Yes.
Oh, it's going to be like one of those romance comedies where everything works out at the end and they go to a big wedding.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, this is going to be just like my big fat Greek wedding.
So Jason is saying that OSB stands for Order of Saint Benedict.
Order of Saint Benedict.
Interesting.
Is that a monk or a
Well,
nun?
no, it would be like a. I don't know the right word for it, but it would be like a.
Is that an academic title though?
I feel like there should be an academic title that fits with it,
Mhm.
and I don't know if that would be one of them.
It sounds like a monk or
Well,
a nun
it's
to
like
me.
a.
Or a
I don't
knight,
know the right word for it, but
like
it's
the
very
knight of an order, right?
well. Yeah, that's the context that order would be.
Right. So this is someone who holds a position within a Christian cult.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, some sort of Catholic thing. Great. Anyways, why don't we hop into it?
Yeah.
Chapter 9. This is a remarkably short chapter. But
Yeah.
it
Oh,
is
Ruben.
very short.
Yeah,
Historically, you never get those. Congratulations.
I know. It's only 6 verses long.
Yeah, very short.
Indeed. Then Tobiah called Raphael and said to him, Brother Azariah. Remember, Raphael gave him the wrong name. And
Yeah.
he lied to him throughout this entire book.
Yeah.
Take along with you 4 servants and 2 camels and leave for Rages. Go to Gabael's house, give him the bond, collect the money, and then bring him back with you to the wedding feast. For you know that my father must be counting the days, and if I delay my return even one day, I will upset him. Moreover, you witnessed what Raguel has sworn, so I cannot violate his oath. So Raphael, with 4 servants and 2 camels, traveled to Rages in Media, where they spent the night at Gabael's home. Raphael gave him the bond and told him that Tobit's son Tobiah had just married and was inviting him to the wedding feast. Gabael at once counted out to him the bags of money, their seals still intact, and they loaded them on the camels. In the morning, they both arose early and left for the wedding feast. So, yeah, he just sends Raphael off to get them. You know what?
He gets the money and then he invites the guy to the wedding.
That's the end of the chapter, by
Yeah,
the way.
very short chapter.
But also, that's odd that he goes on this whole journey. He takes his dog, he finds, and the entire time he could have just been like, Raphael, go get the money.
Also, he could have just because depending on the length of time that this would have taken.
Yeah.
Like, especially if he's going to get back in time, you
I
could
get
also
it. Guys, I get it. Hold on. I want to say something. All right. So they have their own intended journey, but God just solves that problem instantly and instead has his own journey for them where they
Right.
have to get married.
Right, but I'm
See?
saying that both things could have been accomplished anyways because
I know, but it's-
they still could have walked over there
And it
and
wouldn't have been a
gotten
story.
back in
It
time.
wouldn't have been a story then. It's like a movie. You know how they are? There's like, oh man, we could have just stayed in this room the whole time. We didn't have to go on this adventure or whatever.
So the commentary from the NIB, the pace of the interlude, Raphael's journey to get the money, is extremely rapid. There is no indication of the length of the two-way journey. An uninformed reader might assume that Raphael travels to Ragesh one day and returned with Gabael the next. The distance to Ragesh, however, is approximately 185 miles. An angel... Oh, here we go. Okay. An angel might be able to cover the distance in a day, but what of the servants and camels and Gabael on the return journey?
Oh, hold
It's
on.
virtually impossible.
There's another couple sentences that were on the next page.
Oh,
Yeah, so when they entered Raguel's house, they found Tobiah reclining at dinner, but he jumped up and greeted Gabael, who with tears in his eyes blessed him, saying, Noble and good son of a father, noble and good, just and charitable, may the Lord grant the blessing of heaven to you and your wife and to your wife's father and mother. Blessed is the God that I have seen my cousin Tobiah so like his father.
so that was the last verse then?
Yeah, that was the last verse.
Okay. So on that last verse, I suppose,
Mhm.
When the travelers return to Raguel's house, Gabael greets Tobiah with the key words that describe Tobiah's character: good and noble, righteous and charitable. He proclaims Tobiah to be the very image of his father. He's also good and noble. Gabael, and then they reference 1377 and 14:2. Gabael adds another blessing to the many already showered on this marriage. He too recognizes the familial implications of the union and extends the blessing to Sarah's parents. This is clear in the Old Latin text. Quote, the father and mother of your wife. And Sinaiticus reads, your father and your wife's mother.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what you're getting there.
And in addition, in the Vulgate, Gabael's blessing is extended to future generations. Quote, may you see your children and your children's children to the third and fourth generation, and may your seed be blessed by the God of Israel, who reigns forever and ever. And when all had said amen, they went to the feast, but they also celebrated the marriage feast in the fear of the Lord.
Well, that's just, classic Bible stuff.
Yes. Thanks, Vulgate, for having an additional thing. Yeah, that's the end of the chapter.
Yeah, really not much to cover there at all.
Incredible.
Yeah, that was really fast. Super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Not even. So if you're enjoying the stream so far, give us a like and comment and share it with your friends, etc. Hopefully this next chapter is more than 10 minutes long.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it will be, and I think we have even more.
But I had like 8 more years of commentary on Tobit 9.
You know what? Write a book on it.
What? That was sarcasm.
I would love to read a book by Chris where he is just rambling on about Tobit 9.
Fuck.
Yep, he could write a book.
Yeah, you could do it.
I could do most things.
Fully referenced with hundreds of references.
Yeah.
It would take a while.
He could do it in an afternoon.
Oh, jeez.
All right. So we can hop into chapter 10 then?
Why don't we?
All right.
I already put it up. Yeah, take a look.
Look, it's chapter 10.
Fantastic. It's chapter 10.
Are you not entertained?
Trying.
So while Tobit and Hannah worry, the newlyweds leave for Nineveh. Oh, boy.
Neat. So,
do you have any introductory commentary on this section?
the final question posed by the exposition, will Tobiah return safely and heal Tobit, is answered in the affirmative in this section. The distress of Tobit and Anna keeps the tensions alive. However, the reader is now assured by Tobiah's success in delivering Sarah from the demon that he can also use Raphael's advice to heal his father.
Yeah, spoiler warnings. If you
The
haven't had 2,000 years to check this out.
Yeah. The departure from Ecbatana is a long Near Eastern farewell. It serves to reiterate the emphasis on family and to continue the spirit of grateful joy that surrounds the wedding feast. The last major scene of the resolution is told slowly, which happens in chapter 11. So we'll get into it. There's detail and repetition slowing the climax of the scene. And the
Okay, so they wanted to really stretch this out.
Yeah, they did.
All right. Well, let's get into the stretching, I suppose.
Fluff.
Stretching is tight. All right. I've been watching a lot of Ryan George skits.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. I love it. Like the pitch meetings.
Yeah.
Have I shown you guys that? Have you seen it?
Probably.
Okay. Well, it's
Probably.
hysterical. I'll show you guys after. It's fantastic.
All right. Well, why don't you hop into this chapter so that guy can pay us if he wants us to show his stuff.
That'd be great. Chapter 10. Meanwhile, day by day, Tobit was keeping track of the time. Tobiah. Wait, hold on. This is written very, very weirdly. Meanwhile, day by day, Tobit was keeping track of the time Tobiah needed for going there and coming back. When the time was up and his son had not returned, he said, perhaps he's been detained there, or maybe Gabael is dead, and there's no one to give him the money. And he began to worry. So that's his main concern with Gabael being dead. There was no one to give the money.
Yep.
That's his role in the story.
Yes, it is. But you'd feel like they I feel like you should care about a person more than that.
Nah,
just in general, like as a rule.
No, see, Gabael isn't a person. Gabael is
Is
just
the guy they gave him money to at the beginning.
You're right.
just
He's
an object for receiving money.
Yeah, he's a plot point. You're right. Okay.
Yeah.
We know anything else about him? Seriously.
Well, he's going to the wedding.
Yeah, because he
Gotcha.
got money at one point. I don't know.
But his wife, Hannah, said, "My child is dead. He's no longer among the living."
Yeah, so this is a callback to what happened initially in the story. It says, the poignant portrayal, this is from Eerdmans, the poignant portrayal of human emotions in this chapter demonstrates the author's artistry, 10:1-7. Tobit had sent Tobias off with assurances of safety, but his mother Anna had feared that she would see him no more. Now, the time of his return has arrived, but there is no Tobias. Tobit puts on a brave face. There are many reasons why his son might have been delayed, but he is beginning to worry. His mother's fears from the beginning are only confirmed. On the one hand, she watches anxiously for him, but on the other hand, she's already mourning for him. Similarly, the interaction between Raguel, Adna, Tobias, and Sarah is a touching moment that we'll get into in a moment.
A touching moment.
That we'll get into in a moment.
So anyways, she's, lamenting and stuff. He's no longer among the living. She began to weep and wail over her son, saying, "Oh, my child, why did I let you, the light of my eyes, make the trip?" Wow, she's very afraid.
Distraught.
Yeah.
So the old Latin Vulgate and the Greek manuscripts, Septuagint and G3, indicate that she also stopped eating.
Okay. There's that makes sense because there is hold on, before I get into that, there's a specific note here that I see. So here's Hannah's lament in the Vulgate. They actually quote it here.
Oh.
Woe is me, my son. Why did we send you to go to a foreign country, the light of our eyes, the staff of our old age, the comfort of our life, the hope of our posterity? Having all things together in you alone, we ought not to have let you go. That was her lament in the Vulgate. So that is much longer.
Yeah, it seems like the Vulgate's generally longer when it comes to Tobit.
Yeah. All right.
Carry
let's
on.
Continue here. "Hush yourself," she retorted. Oh, wait. Hold on. Sorry. I skipped because the lines start exactly the same way.
Oh, man.
"Oh, my child, why did I let you, the light of my eyes, make the trip?" "Hush," said Tobit to her. "Stop worrying, my dear. He's safe. Probably something unexpected came up there. Besides, the man traveling with him is reliable, even one of our own relatives. So don't get so upset, my dear. He will soon be home."
So
And of course, you have to remember that they just met this guy.
Yeah. So ironically, he mentions that something unexpected may have happened. It's certainly true that none of the characters except Raphael expected the marriage that is causing Tobias delay.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, nope. Nobody saw it coming.
Nobody.
All right, continuing on here. "Hush yourself." It reminds me of that John Mulaney skit. Hush. Yeah. "Hush yourself," she retorted. "Don't lie to me. My child is dead." Yet every day she would hurry outside and watch the road her son had taken.
So this despair is reminiscent of Rebecca, who sends one son away to keep the other from killing him. Of course, it's a little different here. but it is slightly reminiscent, I guess.
Yeah.
We don't have many scenes with mothers waiting in or around biblical texts, actually. So, yeah.
And here's more on where you said the Vulgate said that she stopped eating.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that was in verse 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So continuing on here, yet every day she would hurry outside and watch the road her son had taken, and she would eat nothing. And when the sun had set, she would go inside to wail and weep the whole night long, getting no sleep at all. So on eating nothing, the translation is debatable and is variously rendered by modern translations. For example, would heed no one or trusted no eyes but her own. Simpson regarded this idea of fasting in the Greek as one of many indications that the Greek. So he's referencing 2 Greek manuscripts, and he was suggesting that the initially attributed earlier one was actually later than the one that was attributed later. Fasting being a more important religious activity in later Judaism. But in this particular case, the reading of the Greek cannot be so used. Rather, the witness of the Old Latin seems to support the antiquity of the reading preserved in that initially, he calls it G1 here. So in that initially, the older Greek one. Moreover, inasmuch as the Old Latin has the phrase and the Vulgate does not, the latter cannot have contaminated here the former. So the Old Latin, along with G1, has probably preserved a reading lost by the later Greek.
Makes sense.
Yeah. At the conclusion of the 14-day wedding celebration, which Raguel had sworn to hold for his daughter, Tobiah approached him. "Please, let me leave now," he said, "for I know that my father and mother are thinking they will never see me again. So I beg you, father, let me leave now that I may go home to my father. I have already told you how I left him." He is anticipating properly. His parents are in fact worried, although not so much. Actually, you know what? No, he's wrong here.
Yeah?
Because the dad isn't really that worried. The mom is worried.
Yeah. Well, she was worried to begin with.
Yeah, I know. But she's like really worried here.
Right.
And he specifically says that like my father, he includes his father in being, worried, sick, and yeah. He got the mother part right though.
Right.
"Stay here, my boy. Stay with me," Raguel replied, "and I will send messengers to your father Tobit, and they shall tell him about you." No, he answered. "I beg you to send me back to my father."
Yeah,
Then,
so Tobias is not even willing to trust messengers to take the good news back to his parents, but he insists on going himself, despite Raguel's entreaties to stay longer.
Yeah, don't forget about those fish guts he has to put on his dad's eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Can't wait for that.
Well, he needs to cure his blindness.
He absolutely does. Super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Come on.
Then Raguel promptly handed over to Tobiah his bride Sarah, along with half of all he owned. Male and female servants, oxen and sheep, asses and camels, clothing, money, and household goods. So he's given away all this stuff here.
Yeah,
half of all he owned.
The warmth of Raguel's nature is demonstrated by his tender farewells to his daughter and new son-in-law. He is a rich man with servants, slaves, flocks, and herds. He is also a generous man. He gives lavish and frequent feasts, and he does not hesitate to give Tobiah half of everything he owns when the newlyweds depart. He has kept his promise with regard to the inheritance in 8:21.
So the substantial dowry is in keeping with Raphael's prediction in 611.
This is a legitimate question, I guess. What do you think brought the demon on if he's such a great guy?
Oh, the demon was in love with her.
Yeah, the demon loved the
That's
girl.
just weird, though, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, there's not enough context around that for me to make any more assessments. Let's move on. Sorry.
Well, either way, she was possessed somehow. So,
It be the way it is.
Story, plot, move on.
so this substantial dowry is in keeping with Raphael's prediction in 611, as well as with the presumed terms of the marriage contract in 714, and Raguel's ebullient promise. Ebullient. Yeah, I don't know. So that's 820 through 21. The inclusion of camels and sheep, says Zimmerman, argues against an Egyptian provenance for the original tale. Sheep and camels being relatively relatively rare in Egypt in the Christian era. Well, this is, I think this would have been just before the Christian era, right? Is that what we said?
Almost.
I already
certainly. So what we're about to get into.
Yeah, this is before the Christian era.
So what we're about to get into is Raguel delivers admonitions to both Tobias and Sarah, while Edna does the same thing to Tobias, as in Tobit 4, when Tobit was sending Tobias on this journey. So here, when Tobias and Sarah are bidding farewell, the author has an occasion to give instructions on living. Once again, this illustrates the author's primary aim of religious and moral teaching. He is not just out to tell a good story. On the contrary, the story itself has many moral examples, and others are added in the form of direct instructions and admonitions. In this case, they have to do with relationships between members of the extended family, daughter to parents-in-law, husband to wife, son-in-law to parents-in-law. The command to honor one's parents-in-law occurs, as does one's own parents, but the one for the parents-in-law has no exact counterpart in the Hebrew Bible. It would probably have been taken for granted.
Also, I've heard better stories.
Yeah, this is just it's not much of a story, actually. He's like, okay, I'm going to leave home, found this girl, I burned some stuff, and then they did it.
I got a fish.
Got a fish.
Gonna need that stuff. Gonna heal something.
Those moral stories that had a talking bison named Plato that used to tell stories.
What?
No, it was a cartoon.
I remember Wishbone.
Okay, great. Well, either way, this is the lower end tier of educational cartoons in quality. That's how I'd rate this story so far.
You guys remember Between the Lions?
That was like okay.
Yeah. Let's see, what else was there? There were a whole bunch of shows
It's fine.
like that, like in that same vein.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
The only thing good about that one was cliffhanger. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
That was the awesome part of the show.
That's right, cliffhanger. Yeah.
It's hanging off a cliff. That's it. That's all you need to know. All right, move on.
So he saw them off safely. He embraced Tobiah, saying, "Goodbye, my son. Have a safe journey. May the Lord of heaven prosper you and your wife Sarah, and may I live to see your children." So on verse 11 there is a note that says that G1 is half as long as G2. Quote, "And when he had blessed them, he sent them away, saying, 'The God of heaven will prosper you, my children, before I die.'" So substantially shorter.
Yes.
So that's that. Next, he kissed his daughter Sarah and said to her, "Honor your parents-in-law. From now on, they are as much your parents as those who gave you life. Go in peace, my daughter. Let me hear good reports about you as long as I live." After hugging them, he let them go. That's touching. It's sweet.
Oh, so sweet. Well, there's not much
that he's saying goodbye. Then Edna addressed Tobiah. "My son and my dear brother, may the Lord bring you back safely, and may I live long enough to see the children of you and my daughter Sarah before I die. In the sight of the Lord, I entrust my daughter to your care. Do nothing to grieve her as long as you live. Goodbye, my son. From now on, I am your mother, and Sarah is your beloved. May all of us prosper for the rest of our lives." Then she kissed them both and sent them away in peace. So Tobiah parted from Raguel, healthy and happy, blessing the Lord of heaven and earth, the King of all, because he had made his journey a success. Moreover, Tobiah blessed Raguel and Edna his wife, saying, "I have been commanded by the Lord to honor you as long as I live." So that was a very basic, you know what, not even a very basic goodbye. It's a very elaborate goodbye. And they said the same things to each other, basically.
Yeah. So Tobiah responds to these blessings with a pledge of honor and feeling of happiness and joy, which overflows in thanksgiving to God. The textual situation of the final sentence is complex. The Old Latin is the clearest. "I have been commanded by the Lord to honor you all the days of my life."
Yeah, this goes into
"Iniunctum est mihi domino honorari os omnibus diebus ulte uestre.
this song is kick-ass.
Yeah. G1 reads, "He blessed Raguel and Edna, his wife, catalogue Raguel kai Ednan ten
Want help with that?
gainaika atau." Yeah, it's
It would be something else, not Ganaika. Hold on.
yeah, look at that shit down there. And why don't you finish the comment?
Okay, so we're looking at the Greek, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he blessed Raguel and Edna, his wife. Katiuloge Raguel kai Ednan ten Gunaika auto.
Yeah. But
That's good. It's helping me with my Greek. I got to
Yes.
practice.
but G2, Sinaiticus, omits this sentence. G1 lacks the following sentence, but G2 is corrupt. It reads, "May it be successful for you to honor them all the days of your life." There's more Greek if you want.
Yeah, well, there's also more, a whole bunch of translations here
Yeah.
that there's, okay, so Raguel's last words to him were, "May the Lord give you the means to honor your parents all their lives." There's also, "May I honor you all the days of my life, and may it be my happiness to honor you for the rest of my life." So, yeah, quite a lot of translations there.
Yeah, quite a bit. Well, hey, if you're enjoying the stream so far, give us a like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, family, neighbors, 9/11 truthers, whatever.
Whatever.
Share it with all those people because really, really helps us out.
Share it with me. Good luck finding me.
Yes,
Yeah.
please share it with him. He doesn't really watch the show, so you got to get the good word out to him.
Yeah.
So
It's
this
not
is
like I was here or anything.
No,
I mean,
not even little.
Nah.
so this is the last chapter of the day, chapter 11,
Yep.
and this is where the cure of blindness happens.
Ah, I love it. We have this is
Highly
this is
anticipated.
really the crux of the story. It
I
should
gotta
be.
say, the circumstances for his blindness were bizarre. Let's
Yes.
just put it that way.
Yes, they
And
were.
the cure is also bizarre.
Yes,
so.
it is.
Mhm.
No disagreements here.
All right, so when they approached Kazarin, which is just before Nineveh, Raphael said, okay, so about this location, Kazarin, the location of the former is unknown, possibly because its spelling is corrupt. There is little merit to the suggestion of Torrey, 1922, 1945, and 85, that these two sites are pseudonyms for the twin cities of Seleucia and Ctesiphon. This, in spite of the fact that in certain books, e.g. Daniel and some of the Qumran literature, disguised names and titles were sometimes given to historical personages, people, and places. G1 avoids the problem nicely by omitting any allusion to Kazarin. So, according to the Vulgate, this is Charan, Scholars estimate on how long the trip from Ecbatana to Nineveh would take, including the crossing of the Zagros Mountains, range from 1 to 6 weeks. So this is somewhere.
Takes a while.
The location isn't clearly known.
Right.
Raphael said, "You're aware of how we left your father. Let us hurry on ahead of your bride so that we may get the house ready before the rest of the party arrives."
Wait, okay.
You're too slow.
Okay, hold on. So they make this stop to get married.
Yeah.
At least, from God's perspective, right? And now they're just like, wait, hold on. You got to go way further ahead of her. Just like leave beforehand. Leave your wife in the dust. It's just so things would look nice when you get back.
And hopefully
there are people still living there too.
Yeah.
I'm sure taking care of the place.
Yeah. Well, hopefully their instructions are clear enough to arrive at the right place.
Yeah.
And they don't get killed by a bunch of bandits or something.
Uh-oh.
All those people who lie in the shadows waiting to just commit violence that are in all those wisdom literature books.
Remember
That's
those
right.
guys.
You got to look out for those guys.
Yeah.
It also could just be like a lion or a bear.
Yeah.
Those are things in this.
So
They haven't mentioned tigers yet, but lions and bears.
Yep.
Look out for those.
as the two of them went on ahead, the angel said to him, "Bring the gall with you." Now the dog ran along behind them. We finally get the dog.
Yeah, so this second reference to the dog is rather startling to the alert reader. As noted at 6'2", its presence seems...
noted by Ruben.
Yeah. As noted at 6'2", its presence seems to be a survivor from an earlier version of the story where the dog had a more central role.
Yeah, so there's a note on this and more here.
Yeah, that it's a remainder of the story's folktale origin.
Moore says, "That elusive dog again, mentioned only at the beginning of the trip, and now at the end, this canine companion continues to be now here, now not, at least as far as the versions are concerned."
Oh, that dog of mine.
Yeah. It's a blink dog.
Here, it's erroneously missing in G2, but present in G1, and more importantly, attested to by the Old Latin. In the Vulgate's account of Tobiah's triumphal homecoming, the spotlight shines briefly but brightly on his canine companion. Quote, "Then the dog, which had been with them on the way, ran before, and coming as if he had brought the news, showed his joy by fawning and wagging his tail."
Wow.
End quote. Gross views the dog's presence here in verse 4 as symbolic of a safe and sound return, i.e. the travelers return in the same condition they left. But more likely, the dog is a vestigial remnant of an older secular folktale where it played a more significant role.
But also, I would say that you could easily interpret this to be symbolic. Because I guess in the ancient world it would have been different, right? But so I guess it would. Yeah, I think it would actually make way more sense if it was just a remnant of a folktale.
Yeah,
because the way that dogs are viewed now are so different than the way they were viewed then. Like, if someone wrote that story now, it would make more sense to have the dog there, right? Because you come back home, and what does your dog do? He's very happy to see you. So
yeah,
that would make sense. But
it's
in
wagging
the ancient
its
world,
tail in the Vulgate.
right, all that other stuff. So that's
Nice dog.
yeah,
Good dog.
good doggo.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Hannah sat watching the road by which her son would return. When she caught sight of him, she shouted to her husband, "Look, your son is coming, and the man who accompanied him." Raphael said to Tobiah before he had reached his father, "I am certain that he will regain his sight. Smear the fish gall on his eyes.
Oh.
The medicine will make the white patches shrink and peel off from his eyes. Then your father will regain his sight and see the light."
That is how medicine works.
Dude,
So
he just didn't clean the bird shit off. It's just white bird shit still. It's still there.
Yeah.
there is a good bit of commentary on the medicinal use of this.
Yes.
So I have a lot to A lot in Erdman's too. So God's providence in the healing of Tobit is manifested through natural materials. The heart, liver, and gall of the fish are medicines that correspond to the ancient healing lore. Fish gall was used in Assyria as a medicine for eye ailments. The use of gall from other animals, especially pigs and turtles, is also known from Egypt. The medicinal use and preparation of gall is also discussed by Pedanius Dioscurides, Pliny, and Galen. All ancient authors there. Then continuing on here from Erdman's. As noted earlier, it has often been discussed whether the application of the fish gall to Tobit's eyes is medicinal or magical, but that is a modern distinction. It is, fair enough. It is a modern distinction. Why should the application of the fish gall be any different? Healing in antiquity before the treaties of Hippocrates and Galen, who tried to set medicine on a scientific basis, often combined the medicinal and the magical. We have no evidence that these were considered distinct procedures. This is further evidenced in Tobit's response to his healing. He immediately proceeds to ascribe the cure to God. Fair enough, despite the obligatory mechanical application of the fish gall.
Yes. Let's continue on then. Hannah ran and threw her arms around her son, saying, "Now that I have seen you, my child, I'm ready to die." This is more like
good time to tune in.
I can die happy than like
Right. You're here? Fuck, I gotta die now.
Yeah. And she sobbed. Tobit got to his feet and came stumbling out through the courtyard gate. Tobiah went up to him with the fish gall in his hand. He blew on Tobit's eyes and, steadying him, said, "It will be all right, father." Then Tobiah applied the medicine, and it made them smart.
So Tobit reports that his eyes sting or smart. The effectiveness of the gall and healing is directly related to its caustic, heat-producing properties. The medical knowledge of eye diseases and their remedies is amazingly accurate in the Book of Tobit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it made them sting. Okay, gotcha. That's what it means by that.
Yeah. Okay.
You rarely ever hear that in that context anymore.
Yeah, you do.
But yeah, it's
so let's.
It's a thing
keep
people
going,
in the
then.
past did.
It must be.
Style
S-
at the time.
Yes, style at the time. They said it's smart.
I guess that's the opposite of dull.
Yeah.
Oh,
There you go.
there you go.
Next, using both hands, he peeled away the white patches from the corners of his eyes. When Tobit saw his son, he threw his arms around him and burst into tears, saying to him, "I can see you, my son, the light of my eyes." He continued, "Blessed be God, and blessed be his great name. Blessed be all his holy angels. Let his name be great over us, and blessed be all angels forever and ever.
Also-
Although he scourged me, he has also had mercy on me. Now I see my son Tobiah."
And also remember that he was called Light of My Eyes earlier.
Yes. He, so it's appropriate for him to mention the angels given Raphael's role in the story,
Sure.
but Tobit doesn't realize this at the time.
Yeah. So he blesses God, God's name, and God's angels. 4 times he uses the word eulogeo, to bless. Although it's not to bless, by the way. It is I bless. But since that is the
To bless in the first person form.
yeah, it's called the first principal part. So that's what you're going to find in dictionaries. But it because it has that omega ending, it does mean I bless. That's what you're going to find for many, many verbs of the that's what you're going to find for a lot of them. So
You better tell everybody that.
yeah, I am.
I mean, like in books.
They
in
should,
writing.
but they just they say to bless, but it doesn't mean to bless. It means
man.
I bless.
Well, shucks.
Yeah.
All right. So Tobiah also went inside, rejoicing and praising God with all his might. Tobiah then reported to his father that his trip had been successful, that he had brought the money, and how he had married Raguel's daughter Sarah, and that she would be arriving shortly. She is already approaching the gate of Nineveh. Then Tobit, excited and praising God, went out of the gate of Nineveh to meet his daughter-in-law. When the people of Nineveh saw him going along, walking briskly and not being led by the hand, they were amazed. Before all of them, Tobit acknowledged that God had shown him mercy and had restored his sight. When Tobit met his son's wife Sarah, he greeted her, saying, "Come in, welcome, my daughter. Blessed be your God who brought you to us, my daughter. Blessed be your father. Blessed be my son Tobiah. And blessed be you, my daughter. Come into your home and welcome with blessing and joy. Come in, my daughter." So this is very strikingly different than how he introduced himself to Raphael.
Yeah, so well the thing is
Shit, he's happy.
the scene ends with a summary that echoes Raphael's commission in 317.
Yeah, so they note here, in spite of his warm and effusive greeting, Sarah, because of her personality, age, or gender, remains silent. Some scholars, including Zimmerman, think the author's use of "my daughter" here 4 times was to mollify stern readers who may frown at the action of Tobias in marrying without his parents' participation.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, he met the criteria that they were looking for, though.
Sinners.
There have always been myopic and petty parents, but nowhere else in the narrative does Tobit seem like that, nor did Tobit, if we may judge from his response here to Sarah, totally subscribe to that popular Sumerian proverb, "The desert canteen is a man's life, the wife is a man's future, the son is a man's refuge, the daughter is a man's salvation, the daughter-in-law is a man's devil."
Classic.
Yeah, pretty interesting.
I feel like we've discussed that exact phrase
Yes,
before.
we have.
Yeah, that's from S.N. Kramer's "History Begins at Sumer." That translation of that,
Okay.
whatever it comes from.
Where did we cover that before?
I don't know.
Probably was it Proverbs? Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, because there was the whole. Yes, it was Proverbs because there was the whole chapter that was pretty much just about how much the author hated women,
Yeah,
about how much women suck.
or it might have been Ben Sirach.
I don't think it was Ben Sira.
Yeah, might have been though.
Might have been.
All the wisdom, because we read them both at the same time,
Yeah.
and both of them are pretty misogynistic.
Yeah. They're very similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
Themes are continued in this with that in that regard, perhaps.
indeed. So let me just finish up here. Then there's a little bit of commentary, just a little bit. So on that day there was rejoicing among all the Jews who were in Nineveh. Ahikar and his nephew Nadine also came to share in Tobiah's joy. They celebrated Tobiah's wedding for 7 days, and many gifts were given to him. Wow, he got a 2-week-long party once, and now he gets a week-long party.
Yeah.
With
Yeah, he does.
all the Jews. All of them.
This is just
What a-
a happy story.
Okay, so this
So
This-
rather than have the omniscient observer describe the situation, the author lets all the characters speak for themselves, thereby creating greater immediacy and interest. The transformation of Tobiah is complete. He had left Nineveh an obedient youth. He has returned a man, married, wealthy, and morally tested. Tobit, too, has changed. He is not just back where he started, healthy and well-to-do. Now, more than ever, he knows the needs of the poor, the values of health and family, and the power of the Lord.
here's something kind of cool that I totally passed over. Could you no pun intended, could you reread 11:17? Just that verse? 17.
17. I'm
Yeah.
finding it.
Yeah, because there is some very
Before
interesting
all of them, Tobit acknowledged that God had shown him mercy and had restored his sight. When Tobit met his son's wife, Sarah, he greeted her, saying, "Come in, welcome, my daughter. Blessed be your God who brought you to us, my daughter. Blessed be your father. Blessed be my son Tobiah, and blessed be you, my daughter. Come into your home, and welcome with blessings and joy. Come in, my daughter." So on that day there was rejoicing among all the Jews who were in Nineveh.
Yes. Okay. So at the end of this verse is a very surprising statement. There was rejoicing among all the Jews in Nineveh. But there were probably no Jews in Nineveh at this time. Because remember when this story takes place, way before.
Well, I suppose that by all the Jews in Nineveh, they're referring to Tobit and his family, right?
All three people, here they are, party. That's it.
Yeah, instead of saying there was rejoicing among Tobit and Sarah and Tobiah and like, he just says all the Jews in Nineveh. Or you could say
the family also, but
it could.
Okay, so Tobit had been taken captive by the Assyrians when they conquered Samaria in 722. He was from the northern kingdom of Israel, not the southern kingdom of Judah. Assuming that Tobit was about 20 when he was taken captive, the episode in this chapter would be about 680 to 675 BCE. The main Jewish captivity began 3/4 of a century later in 597 BCE, 15 years after Nineveh had been destroyed, never to be rebuilt. The matter is somewhat more complicated than this, however, in that Sennacherib claims to have taken a large number of captives in 701 BCE. Since Sennacherib did not actually conquer Jerusalem by his own admission, 2 Kings 19:35-36 claims divine intervention, right? The question of whether he took Jewish captives or how many is not easy to answer. Nevertheless, the best explanation of Tobit 11:17 is that the author is really concerned about the Jewish diaspora during his own time, that is, the Persian or Greek periods, long after Assyrian rule. Except for this verse, Tobit refers to the community as Israelites. So that is actually kind of interesting.
Huh. Yeah. Well, that's the end of our readings today. Next week, we're finishing Tobit.
Yes, we
and the week after, we're beginning the alphabet of Ben Sira.
Yeah, the alphabet of Ben Sira. We're going to try to get David Skelton on.
We're going to try our best. It is not written by the same person who wrote the wisdom of Ben Sira.
No, oh my God, no. This is written like over 1,000 years later.
Yeah.
And it's
at the very least, 1,000 years later.
pretty funny.
It's a parody.
It is a parody, and it is hysterical. From what we have read of it.
It's a good book.
It is so funny. I mean, the thing you have to remember that it is a parody, but it is just gold. It is just comedy gold because it's so ridiculous.
It's going to be a nightmare for me because we're just going to be laughing through most of it. And
yes,
we won't it'll be so long and we'll have to change cameras all the time because somebody will make a joke about a joke.
And
it's going to be crazy.
There's not a commentary out there about it.
There
are, but probably in
useful?
different selections. But
yeah. So, like I said, we're going to try to get David Skelton on.
Yeah, we could not find
a
commentary on Amazon for it.
Right. I'm sure they exist, but probably very hard to find, or you have to, it's part of like other commentaries or something. But either way, so I'm going to continue talking to him about that. He recommended somebody else we could potentially get on the show. But the thing is, like, the whole point of the Ben Sira, or the alphabet of Ben Sira thing, is while we will discuss its origins and the fact that it is a parody, while we will in fact discuss that, it's less about the scholarship for those and more about, it's just a really funny book. It's just so good. And it's the first time we get a mention of Lilith as being Adam's first wife. Yeah, it's in a parody, if you didn't know that.
And there's also a thing about donkeys smelling their pee.
Yes, there's that.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. It is just hilarious. It's
bonkers.
It is bonkers.
If you enjoyed the stream today, why don't you give us a like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, family, neighbors. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Those are free to follow us there.
Yeah.
If you would like to support the show, we have an Amazon wish list full of books that could be added to this table, like more content for you.
Yeah.
And we also have a Teespring. If you want to take a risk and be entered into a monthly t-shirt giveaway, then you can check us out on Patreon and give us $10 a month. If you want to be on this show, you can give us $50 a month. And
Yeah, or the other show.
or the other show.
Qualified scholar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you get some good rewards. You get access to scripts.
Yeah, that's $1 a month.
Yeah.
All of our written scripts.
And that's impressive. That's like a whole
It's like a
a
library.
cornucopia.
Yes.
And it's super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
It is more intellectually advanced
You've
than
seen
what was
$12
lost in the Library of
before.
Alexandria.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah.
So that's what we got going on. All the links are in the description. We hope you enjoyed the show today. All the other stuff Ruben said. We pretty much got it all out of the way.
No, it's chilled enough.
Yeah, you did. All right, thank you.
Bookface and Twitter.
Yes,
I already said that.
Yes, you did. Thank
You
you,
didn't say
everyone.
Bookface.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we will see you on Sunday.